One of the big names, actually, of course, in the summer that was spoken about loads was Egypt international Mohamed Salah, one of the fan favourites at the club. Now, it looked like in the window, Liverpool rejected a huge offer from Al Ittihad for £150 million for Mo Salah. And then actually in the final days of the window, as reported by Football Insider, it looked like they rejected a bid of £225 million. Whether that went through or not remains to be seen. But even still, I mean, a remarkable amount of money. Wayne, do you think there's any chance Salah leaves in January? Of course, he's got AFCON coming up with Egypt. Will he leave, do you think, in January? Or actually, is there more potential that he goes in the summer?
I think in January there's 2 chances, and that's 0 and none. Liverpool are adamant he won't go in January. The interest from Saudi is obviously huge. It's not going away, and Salah's head has been turned. That is fact. I mean, whatever sort of spin Liverpool might want to put on it, or Salah's camp might want to put on it, he is very interested in going to Saudi League, getting an extraordinary salary and being the marquee player in that league. He turns 32, I think, next summer. I mean, what's really interesting with Salah is there's been no sign of his sort of powers waning at all this season. In fact, he's looked as good as he's looked probably since his first season at the club, which was probably his best season at the club. But he's the senior player in that front line, starts every single important match, every single Premier League match, plays every minute of every Premier League match. And that shows you how Jurgen Klopp considers him. And, he's not only still scoring as his same rate as he's always scored, but he's become an assist king as well. Liverpool don't want to sell him in January, but I think they're going to have one hell of a fight next summer. If they don't want him to go, they're going to have one hell of a fight to keep him. My money at the moment would be on him leaving Liverpool next summer for a record Premier League offer. I think if Liverpool are offered 150 million plus next summer for a guy he's turned 32 in June, they're not rejecting that.
Yeah, well, the Saudi Pro League director came out, Mikel Emiliano. He said that Salah's one of his personal favourite players across the world. It's clear the league do want him. Do you think there'd be potentially even that they might increase that fee and it would just keep going up and up until Liverpool would literally have to say yes, given the amount of money?
Listen, for me, it's a done transfer. I think Wayne's absolutely right. I think it's his personal ambitions, for his personal wealth, for his hereditary wealth that he'll leave for his family, but not just that, because of his religious beliefs, the country where he comes from is Egyptian, and playing in that league, he would be the icon. Ronaldo was taken over there as the start of it all, if you like. Ronaldo can't play forever, and he's not going to play forever. Mohamed Salah in that league tops Ronaldo for me. The interest that spikes, the revenue that brings to that league, regardless of who buys him in that league, it will be funded, however it's funded. But that will be the biggest deal that the Premier League's seen. I have no doubt. Liverpool rightly kept hold of him because I think Jurgen Klopp knew that he had a decent side on his hands this year, a good squad that could challenge again after a poor season last year. From their point of view, you look at the way that they've started this year, you look at the way that he's scoring goals, and there clearly isn't a fitness problem with him because he started midweek against Bournemouth in the Carabao Cup game, which normally you would never see Mohamed Salah starting. So maybe Jurgen Klopp's getting every last bit he can out of him before he goes. But I genuinely think that this is a deal in the summer. I think most people are resigned, Liverpool fans resigned to the fact that he will be going, but the amount of money that it'll bring to Liverpool will be immense. And I just think it's one that the player wants, and a way to finish his career in that league.
And you kind of think as well, there would be 1 year left in his contract next summer. So that's the last possible chance of Liverpool getting big money for him. He's only probably going to get worse as a player, isn't he? Gradually. I mean, obviously he's in amazing condition. Obviously his his own personal regime is second to none. He's not really lost any of his pace, Paul, is he? I mean, he still looks almost as quick as he was in his first couple of seasons, which is pretty remarkable. You saw with Ronaldo, he very much lost his pace, didn't he, by his mid-30s. There's not been any sign with that with Salah yet, but that's inevitably will change. And, it's interesting that he is starting. Not only did he start midweek, he played the whole game as well, didn't he? Which is which is amazing. It's probably because Luton's on Sunday, and Luton aren't Man City, are they? So Klopp's obviously looked at that and thought, okay, I can get away with this. And Liverpool aren't playing strongest team in their Europa League matches either, so they're not in the Champions League. That makes a difference as well. But yeah, I mean, it's absolutely inevitable. Salah will leave it in the season. Very sad. I mean, I think he's probably been the best player of the Klopp era. I think for me, he sort of trumps Van Dijk and Alisson, Mane and Firmino. I think he is number one, and he is still the best player in that team, isn't he? I mean, probably him and Alisson, the two you have to play in every game. I think Van Dijk's almost getting back to his level, but it's probably not quite the player he was. But yeah, Salah and Alisson, you look at them as the best two. I mean, Paul, I'm quite interested in your thoughts on Darwin Núñez. Do you think he's capable of being as good as Salah? Is he never going to be as good as that because of his kind of unpredictability and his lack of composure, or has he got it in him, do you think?
I think there's signs that it's there. I think he got criticised last year for his lack of end product, for his lack of goals, but he was putting himself in the position for the chances. This season, I tipped him at the start of the season, I think there's a real player there. I think they're both very different players. I think Salah's obviously a wide player with the pace that he has, and Núñez is one that likes to play down the middle. If Salah goes, they're going to get in the region of 150, 200 million. How do you replace Salah? Well, you look for Mo Salah, don't you? There's nobody else like him. And the money that they're going to have to spend in replacing him, I don't think you can buy one player as a direct replacement. I think it will change the way that they may be set up. Look at the front line. They've got Gakpo, Diaz, Jota and Núñez without Salah. So they can play in the same way. But none of those players have the same impact as Salah. You look at his goals. You look at his assists. Not just this season, last season, it's every season he plays. He guarantees you X amount of goals. He guarantees you X amount of assists. None of that other front line do. They come close and they're quality players. But the point that it is no matter how much money you get for him, you cannot replace him unless you find another one. Núñez, I think, is capable of scoring the goals, but are very different players.